so I got access to the final beta test of Icons Combat Arena. For those of you that don't know, it's basically a mix between Super Smash Bros. Melee, Overwatch, and a little bit of League of Legends. I probably would have overlooked the game if I didn't notice that the developers were named after the bread and butter of competitive Melee. The gameplay is taken from Melee with all of its advanced moves intact. The loot box reward system is from Overwatch, and it has that classic free-to-play model that includes unlockable characters like in League of Legends. For those of you unaware of Melee's competitive scene, it deviates from your typical fighting games due to its heavy focus on the manipulation of movement-based glitches. This allows for way more freedom to fake your opponent out. Keep in mind that I'm not a Melee pro, so take what I just said with a grain of salt. Anyway, let me preface this by explaining my experience with the Smash Bros. Series. I started with the N64 game and got really good with Kirby. Keep in mind that I was absolutely unaware of the competitive scene at the time. Then I got into Melee and dove deep into learning about the game's meta. I never got as good as any of the pros, but I always played pretty well compared to the casual players. I'll skip my history of Brawl and Smash 4 as it's not too relevant to Icons. The short of it is that the sequels didn't really maintain the extraordinary gameplay style of competitive Melee. This was especially noticeable with tripping in Brawl. Icons brings us back to the good old days when it comes to intricate mind games and unorthodox techniques. Unfortunately, I had to play with my Xbox 360 controller, which really dampened my experience. Luckily, players can use adapters to easily interface GameCube controllers to their PCs. During most of my time with the game, I was just avoiding the advanced techniques. It just doesn't feel right without a GameCube controller, but it is serviceable. Regardless, the advanced techniques work well. As previously mentioned, stuff like wave dashing, L cancelling, and edge hogging all seem to be present and accounted for. I'm very glad that people in the game industry are actually interested in creating games inspired by competitive scene glitches. If anyone remembers Guns the Duel, it also had glitches that made the game so much deeper and exciting than it was ever meant to be. These advanced techniques really impressed me back then, and they're just as impressive today. Surprisingly, glitches in games like Guns and Melee made them substantially better somehow. Icons can be played without these advanced techniques, but you'd be playing at a disadvantage against the crazies. I started off with Ishani, who's like the game's Tracer, as she seems to be Icon's poster girl. As a Marth player, she just didn't suit my playstyle. Once I tried the first 3 characters, I unlocked the remaining with the in-game currency provided to me at the start. Zhu Rong was the perfect character for me. Her appealing character design combined with my Marth mania made her an obvious candidate for being my main. She plays a lot like Marth, but with a few twists to the formula. Unfortunately for me, she doesn't seem to deal more damage and pushback from the edge of her blade, which really threw me off. Regardless, when some of Zhu Rong's hits connect, they sound very satisfying. As I was getting into the online multiplayer, I noticed that knockout moves didn't really feel powerful. In Smash, you'd charge up a forward smash on a weakened enemy and you'd feel the force behind your attack. Here, they fly across the screen with little fanfare or auditory response. Perhaps this will be fixed once they fully release the game. Overall, the character designs aren't as magnetic as Overwatch's, but they're okay. They also lack the impact of well-established characters like Mario or Samus. Despite the name of the game, I don't feel like the characters are very iconic, though it most likely depends on how dedicated the fanbase gets. Zhu Rong's design is a highlight, but I'm probably biased. The designs feel somewhat Overwatch inspired, with Ishani having a visor like Tracer's and Xana essentially being a Zarya Orc fusion. When it comes to the music, I hate the theme song. It sounds like some cheesy cartoon show where I blow my brains out at the end. Most soundtracks are inoffensive and not all that worth talking about, but this one song really irks me. I feel that they really dropped the ball on the theme song. After a while, it got so bad that I ended up muting the background music altogether. The stage music is luckily on the inoffensive side, though I hardly even noticed it was there. Also, there seems to be a serious lack of impactful sound effects. Hopefully they add more into the game for their full release. However, it might just be Sakurai's twisted conditioning affecting my fragile psyche. I just expect an audience reaction when playing Smash-like games. The multiplayer is chaos. Sure, it says casual mode or whatever, but the first 3 players I encountered seemed to be Melee veterans. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be so good. There doesn't seem to be a real middle ground at the moment, as I've only encountered Melee diehards and noobs. Regardless, the netcode seems to be pretty great. I've yet to run into any insane lag spikes, and that seems to be very promising. I remember playing Brawl years ago with its insanely bad lag. It was basically unplayable, so this is definitely a step up from that. Here's a couple of scattered thoughts I had while I was playing the beta. There's a lack of single player content besides a training mode and a local versus mode. Icon's versus mode provides decent AI opponents, though there was only a single difficulty level. One of them even tried to do a little edgehogging on me. Some hits didn't feel very powerful, however, they ended up knocking me out completely. This was made even stranger due to the previously mentioned weak sound effects. I noticed a lot of similarities between some of the characters in Icons and characters from Smash. As mentioned before, Zhurong is another Marth, but she has better recovery, a range move, and worse basic sword attacks. Her side special move seems to be a modified Fox illusion. Speaking of Fox, Kid feels like a nerfed, less cool Fox, but with a side special that can actually knock opponents out of a stage. I don't really like his lame looking purple gas effects. Ishani is a Captain Falcon clone with a little Mac charge mechanic. Xana seems to be a hybrid character. She has an up special like King DDD's Super Jump, a spinning move like the Mario Tornado, and a side special like Ganondorf's Flame Choke. Raymer is a sort of Zero Suit Samus clone, but with a greater focus on shooting. I ran into a single Raymer throughout my time with the beta, and this player was crazy. The Raymer essentially made full use of the insane range capabilities provided in their side special shot. It was ridiculous how successful Raymer's ledge denial was. The remaining two characters feel more unique, but maybe I'm just forgetting something. Along with that crazy Raymer, I encountered a monster Wei Shan that completely destroyed me. Those characters weren't as commonly selected as Zhurong or Ishani, but these players really showed me how it's done. Also, I like Aphie and Galu's interesting swapping mechanic. It's a basic transformation move a la Zelda and Sheik's, but you also teleport to the location of the stationary statue. Overall, Icon's a neat free-to-play game that I would have loved as a teen. I recommend checking it out if you're into the Melee competitive scene, or if the game looks appealing to you. It's coming out soon and it's free to play on Steam, so there's nothing to really lose and a lot to gain. As it is now, I think I'll stick with Melee and more typical fighting games. Though I'm glad that games like this are being made, the appeal of playing Melee like a pro dropped for me a long time ago. Hopefully one day, someone will make the Icons equivalent to the original Guns of Duel. Now that would be pretty sick. Anyway, I wish Wave Dash Games the best of luck, and perhaps I'll check the game out again later down the line. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. If you want more, here are some of my other videos. Anyway, I'll see you all next time.